A 26-year-old Ivy League graduate from a rich Maryland family, Luigi Mangione's arrest caused national outrage and put the public in a state of confusion. When Brian Thompson, the CEO of United Healthcare, was killed in a terrifying ambush outside a hotel in New York City, Mangione initially appeared to be an improbable candidate. A man in a mask and sweatshirt shot and killed Thompson, 50, early one Wednesday morning. The gunman approached Thompson from behind, drew his firearm, and opened fire. The gunman completed the job with a systematic coolness, leaving the scene without hurrying, as if he had done it before, and Thompson fell. The police were quick to declare that they had apprehended Luigi Mangione, the culprit, after what appeared to be a professional hit. Since Luigi was a young engineer from a well-known family and had no violent past, many people found it hard to believe that he could have been involved in such a heartless deed. Authorities discovered him in Pennsylvania, however, sitting quietly in a McDonald's a few days after the murder. He was reportedly in possession of important evidence that appeared to link him to the crime. A phony New Jersey ID, $888,000 in cash, a ghost pistol thought to be the murder weapon, and other materials that seemed to indicate Mangione's involvement were all found in his rucksack, according to police reports. Authorities also asserted that Mangione had a manifesto in his hands that blamed him for the murder and vented his resentment at the healthcare system. Even though the evidence was strong, Mangione entered a not guilty plea. He was being framed, he insisted. The public's reaction to the news of his arrest was mixed. While some viewed Mangione as a vigilante attacking a dishonest healthcare system, others categorically denounced him. The notion of a young man who attended an Ivy League university overthrowing the CEO of a multi-billion-dollar company struck a chord with people who were angry about what they saw as systemic inequities. Mangione seemed to have become a divisive personality, viewed as a villain by some and a hero by others. However, one thing was certain: nobody could completely understand the reasons for the crime, and the case only became more enigmatic as officials paraded Mangione in front of the media. The nature of the crime itself was the first red flag brought up during the inquiry. The incident surveillance film revealed a suspect moving with a degree of accuracy and composure that didn't seem fit with the description of an impulsive shooter. The shooter's ability to remove a gun jam during the attack, his professional handling of the weapon, and his almost practiced ease with it were immediately observed by experts. The suspect's stance and posture, according to retired NYPD officers who watched the video, indicated formal instruction, such as that obtained at a shooting range or through professional training. Clearing a jam during the shooting, according to one retired captain, was a talent that demonstrated gun familiarity and the capacity to remain calm under duress. The suspect's behavior following the shooting was even more remarkable. The shooter was seen leaving the area in surveillance footage, seemingly unconcerned. One would not expect someone acting out of personal hatred or anger to behave in this way. The shooter might have gone closer to the victim or stayed to leave a message if he had been driven by a personal grudge. Rather, the gunman left the scene with a casual demeanor, as though he had done this before, possibly as part of a more elaborate, well-thought-out scheme. A vital point was brought up by this degree of professionalism. How could Luigi Mangione, a young man with no known violent past, have been able to carry out such a deliberate and focused attack? Luigi was an improbable suspect due to his background. He was descended from the Mangione family, a prosperous business family from Maryland, whose empire encompassed a network of nursing homes, country clubs, and real estate. Luigi had gone to an Ivy League university to study engineering, and his father, Lou Mangione, had taken over the family firm. No links to criminal activity were recognized, and there was no proof that Luigi had ever been trained in violence or weaponry. So how could someone with his background commit such a calculated and accurate crime? Information about the crime's logistics added to the mystery. It appeared that the shooter was aware of Brian Thompson's precise location and time outside the hotel. Such exact timing implied insider knowledge, information that would not have been available to the general public. Because of this, several people conjectured that the crime might have been an inside operation, possibly planned by someone close to Thompson or working for United Healthcare. Why was Luigi involved in the crime if it was arranged by someone who had a close relationship to the victim? Was he using insider knowledge, or was he just a scapegoat put in the spotlight to get the matter closed as soon as possible? Inconsistencies in the evidence the authorities provided added to the mystery. Police said that a backpack they found in Central Park early in the inquiry was connected to the suspect. However, there was nothing in this backpack that would have linked it to the crime other than a jacket and Monopoly cash. At first, this finding appeared to be a dead lead, but a few days later, Luigi was taken into custody in Pennsylvania, where police said he was carrying a different backpack. The murder weapon, $888,000 in cash, and a forged ID that was used to reserve a hotel room in New York City were all purportedly found in this second backpack. Questions were immediately raised about the existence of two distinct bags. How might the same crime be connected to two different backpacks? Why did Luigi still have the second backpack, which included the evidence that would have linked him to the murder if he had thrown away the first one in Central Park? Suspicions that the investigation might not be as simple as it seemed were only heightened by the timeline's inconsistency and the ambiguity. Adding to the strange circumstances of his arrest, Luigi was reportedly recognized by a customer at a McDonald's in Pennsylvania who claimed that Luigi resembled the shooter in news footage. The consumer notified an employee, who in turn contacted law enforcement instead of phoning the police directly. Luigi was detained while using his laptop, having breakfast, and sitting composedly wearing a mask and sweatshirt. A number of questions were raised by this series of occurrences. Why would someone who is capable of organizing and carrying out a serious crime so recklessly carry around such damning evidence? If Luigi had managed to elude capture for several days, why didn't he take efforts to dispose of the evidence? In addition, given that a $50,000 reward had been offered for information that resulted in the suspect's arrest, why didn't the customer call the police directly? The police also said that when Luigi was caught, he was in possession of a manifesto that conveyed his hatred toward the healthcare system. According to investigators, the manifesto was a vital piece of evidence that proved Luigi had a motive for the murder. According to the manifesto, the healthcare sector and corporate avarice were held responsible for his annoyances, especially the backache he had endured for years. However, this plot was compounded by Luigi's personal history. United Healthcare did not provide insurance for him or his family. Actually, years prior, another insurance company had successfully funded Luigi's back surgery. The manifesto's legitimacy, and if it had been fabricated to frame him, were further called into question by this contradiction. The public persisted in debating Luigi's guilt or innocence, in spite of the contradicting evidence and the dubious nature of the probe. He was seen by some as a scapegoat, set up by influential parties to be blamed for a bigger plot. Others pointed to the DNA evidence obtained at the crime site and the objects purportedly found in his possession as proof of his involvement. But even among those who believed in Luigi's guilt, the case remained shrouded by doubts. Why would an Ivy League graduate from an affluent family who stands to lose so much take such a calculated and deadly risk? What was his genuine motive? Was he really responsible for the crime, or was he framed? Both the defense and the prosecution were under increasing pressure as the trial drew near. The stakes could not have been higher, and the case had already garnered national attention. While his family fought to clear his name, Luigi fought for his freedom during the trial. Every fresh element of the case was examined and discussed in the media frenzy, which showed no indications of abating. One topic dominated the public conversation: what actually transpired on that chilly December day. Was Luigi Mangione the victim of a bigger conspiracy orchestrated by people with the means and authority to control the truth, or was he the perpetrator of a carefully thought-out professional hit? The explanation remained elusive, and the mystery surrounding Luigi Mangione's role and Brian Thompson's death only grew more complex as the case progressed. The case brought to light the difficulties of enforcing the law in a society where influence, wealth, and power can obfuscate the facts.